Joe Biden and the defund the police Democrats have turned our once great cities into cesspools of bloodshed and crime. There's never been anything like it. Here's my plan to restore law and order in our cities and throughout our country, frankly. First, because police forces have been gutted by Democrats' war on police, I will...
Kamala Harris wins, we really gonna catch hell. You know why? She gonna make us pay for everybody who exposed the fact that she was never black. Do you feel me? She has a grudge and an axe to grind. Black people ain't getting shit if Kamala Harris get elected. You weren't gonna get it anyway. Stay with me. Yeah. But it was a neutral neglect. You feel me? That would have been a benign. Thank you. It would have been a benign neglect. Now it's a spiteful neglect. I'm gonna get you ninjas back for exposing the fact that I was never black. Black people ain't gonna get nothing, but black people ain't getting nothing structural. The Democrats are clear. Their whole future is all about the immigrants to replace black.
Now more than ever, we're short of workers. We have a population that is not reproducing it on its own with the same level that it used to. The only way we're going to have a great future in America is if we welcome and embrace immigrants, the dreamers, and all of them, because our ultimate goal is to help the dreamers, but get a path to citizenship for all 11 million or however many undocumented there are here.
Have you talked to him? Is my only question.
What I have to do.
Right.
He made the decision for the country. My concern was not about the president, it was about his campaign.
Importance of safety and security, especially at our border.
Who really is Kamala Harris? She's been telling us her entire career.
I support our sanctuary law.
The illegal immigrant deported multiple times who stands accused of killing Kate Steinle.
An undocumented immigrant is not a criminal.
Also have the courage to reject that term illegal alien.
Are you aware that there's a perception?
You know,
are you aware that there's a perception?
That puts ICE in the same category as the KKK. Is that what you're asking me?
Abolish ICE. Yeah. Is that a position that you agree with?
And we need to probably think about starting from scratch. We're not going to treat people who are undocumented across the border as criminals. I am opposed to any policy that would deny any human being public health, period.
Will you be committing to close immigration detention centers? Absolutely, on day one.
How come she hasn't applied consequences the last 2.5 years? 10 million illegal encounters, 2 million got out of ways, 600% increase in sex trafficking, more terrorists coming across the border, a record number of people off the terrorist watch list, and over 250,000 Americans dead to fentanyl that comes across the border. Consequences, there ought to be consequences for her failure.
We have a secure border. The border is secure.
Sickening new details about the murder of Georgia nursing student Laken Riley. The 22-year-old was beaten to death with a mystery object.
We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe. And I don't...
Kamala Harris, do you trust her to stop the invasion?
incarcerated for a couple of days is traumatic, much less the weeks, months, and years that we're seeing that happen. And so part of my plan is also a reduction of that. And then also, again, what we need to do about demilitarizing our schools and taking police officers out of schools. We need to deal with the reality and speak the truth about the inequities around school discipline.
Where there was a mob of people carrying tiki torches, spewing anti-Semitic hate. And what did the president then at the time say? There were fine people on each side.
Nazis started this. They started in Charlottesville to protest.
They didn't put themselves down as the owner. And you had some very bad people in that group. But you also had people that were very fine people on both sides. You had people in that group, excuse me, I saw the same pictures as you did. You had people in that group that were there to protest the taking down of, to them, a very, very important statue and the renaming of a park from Robert E. Lee to another name. You're changing history, you're changing culture, and you had people, and I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally.
There was also
Joe Biden and the defund the police Democrats have turned our once great cities into cesspools of bloodshed and crime. There's never been anything like it. Here's my plan to restore law and order in our cities and throughout our country, frankly. First, because police forces have been gutted by Democrats' war on police, I will sign a record investment in hiring, retention, and training for police officers nationwide, so important. This bill will also increase vital liability protections for officers because the Democrats want to take those protections away from our police because we want them to do their jobs, and we want them to do their jobs right. You can't take their protections away if you're going to have them do their jobs properly. Second, to qualify for this new funding and all other Justice Department grants, I will insist that local jurisdictions return to proven common-sense policing measures, such as stop and frisk. Very simple. You stop them and you frisk them. Strictly enforcing existing gun laws against convicted felons, cracking down on the open use of illegal drugs, and cooperating with ICE to get criminal aliens off our streets and get them out of our country. Third, we will go after the radical Marxist prosecutors who are abolishing cash bail, refusing to charge crimes, and surrendering our cities to violent criminals. They have surrendered like never before. I will direct the DOJ to open civil rights investigations into radical left prosecutors' offices, such as those in Chicago, LA, and San Francisco, to determine whether they have illegally engaged in race-based enforcement of the law. I will also work with Congress to give the victims of their Marxist policies the right to sue local officials for harm and suffering, and it has been great that they have caused. If your small business is pillaged because shoplifting goes unpunished, if you're brutally attacked by a violent felon released without bail or bond, then you will be entitled to massive damages. Fourth, I will order the Department of Justice, or some people call it the Department of Injustice right now, and Homeland Security dismantle every gang, street crew, and drug network in America. Every single one of them will be dismantled. We already know where these turf wars and drug dens are. We know who the people are. And we're going to charge them and charge the culprits with every crime that we can find. We're going to be fair, but we're going to be tough. We also need the death penalty for drug dealers. So important. And I'd add to that human traffickers, drug dealers and human traffickers. They get the death penalty. Watch it stop and stop quickly. Fifth, in cities where there has been a complete breakdown of law and order, where the fundamental right of our citizens are being intolerably violated, I will not hesitate to send in federal assets, including the National Guard, until safety is restored. If Nancy Pelosi would have accepted our National Guard or our soldiers, you wouldn't have had January 6th. But she and the mayor of D.C. didn't do that. Sixth, we will end the leftist takeover of school discipline and juvenile justice. Many of these carjackers and criminals are 13, 14, and 15 years old. I will order the Education and Justice Departments to overhaul federal standards on disciplining minors, so when troubled youth are out in control, they're out on the streets and they're going wild, we will stop it. The consequences are swift, certain, and strong, and they will know that. Seventh, I will protect the right of self-defense everywhere it is under siege, and I will sign concealed carry reciprocity. Your Second Amendment does not end at the state line. In addition, I will, of course, fully secure the border, dramatically increase interior enforcement, and wage war on the cartels. We have never had a border so secure as it was just 2 years ago, and now our border is the worst anywhere in the world and possibly of all time. There's never been a country that allowed to happen what's happening in the United States right now, where millions of people are pouring across our borders. They come from mental institutions, they come from the prisons, they're all being let out so they can come into the United States. They're poisoning our country. We will also take back our streets from the homeless, the drug addicted, and the mentally ill. I will discuss those plans in much more detail very soon. That is how I will bring back public safety to America. I want to thank you. We're going to make America great again, and we're going to make America safe again. Thank you.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country. Maybe there will be.
People need to start taking to the streets. This is a dictator.
You know, there needs to be unrest in the streets for as long as there's unrest in our lives.
Enemies of the state.
Show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
Do something about your dad's immigration practices, you feckless.
When they go low, we kick them.
How do you resist the temptation to run up and wring her neck?
The biggest terror threat in this country is white men, most of them radicalized right up to the right.
I thought he should have punched him in the face. I said, even if you lost, he insulted your wife.
Yes.
He came down the escalator and called Mexicans rapists and murderers. He said, well, what do you think I should have done? I said, I think you should have punched him in the face and then gotten out of the race. You would have been a hero.
I'd like to punch him in the face. I said if we were in high school, I'd take him behind the gym and beat the hell out of him.
Punch some people in the face!
When was the last time an actor assassinated a president?
They're still going to have to go out and put a bullet in Donald Trump, and that's a fact.
Look as his character is stabbed to death.
Where is John Wilkes Booth when you need him?
That's it right there, pull it up.
I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House.
A Missouri state senator is under investigation by the Secret Service after saying she hopes President Trump is assassinated.
I will go and take Trump out tonight. And if you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere.
And sadly, the domestic enemies to our voting system and our honoring our Constitution are right at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
They're not going to stop before Election Day in November, and they're not going to stop after Election Day. And that should be, everyone should take note of that on both levels, that this isn't, they're not going to let up, and they should not.
If you think we're rallying now, you ain't seen nothing yet.
If you had to be stuck in an elevator with either President Trump, Mike Pence, or Jeff Sessions, who would it be?
Does one of us have to come out alive?
Press always asks me, don't I wish I were debating him? No, I wish we were in high school, I could take him behind the gym. That's what I wish. I said, no. I said, if we were in high school, I'd take him behind the gym and beat the hell out of him.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country. Maybe there will be.
That you cannot be civil with a political party that wants to destroy what you stand for, what you care about.
If you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome.
You know, there needs to be unrest in the streets for as long as there's unrest in our lives.
Enemies of the state.
Kristen Welker, how do you resist the temptation to run up and wring her neck?
When they go low, we kick them.
Please
Get up in the face of some Congress people.
Yes, I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House.
I said, no. I said, if we were in high school, I'd take him behind the gym and beat the hell out of him.
I will go and take Trump out tonight.
Too many see the protests as the problem. Please, show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
Go to the Hill today. Get up in the face of some Congress people.
And if you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome.
Running away from Donald Trump, I think you need to go back and punch him in the face.
When they go low, we kick.
You know, there needs to be unrest in the streets for as long as there's unrest in our lives.
They're still going to have to go out and put a bullet in Donald Trump, and that's a fact.
Folks, 2024, folks.
We're Chinese, first generation. We love Trump from our bottom of the heart because we know Trump is the only one can save America. Kamala is so stupid. She is so low. IQ equal no Q, no qualification to be the president. You shall stay away from that position. You already lost the position. You lost our trust. You lost our vote. You just need to go home, to stay home. You cannot do anything to save America. You are so stupid. You don't know anything. You cannot even answer any question from the camera, from all the media. How you can be on the stage to fight for America, to protect American people, to protect all the world. You are not qualified. You just need to go home.
Guess at what they were saying.
Yeah, I mean, I think Joe was like, look, you and Pelosi shanked me, led a coup against me for this drunk wine mom, Kamala, who's even worse than I was. You should have just kept me in. Yeah. I think Biden's been trying to undermine Kamala Harris. Yeah. I mean, going out and holding his first press briefing in, 1,300 days? Yeah. I think Biden would feel a little bit vindicated if Kamala lost.
He would
like it just a little bit.
100%. Yeah, because if you talk him off, Obama talks him off the ticket twice. He did it in 2016 and does it again. And does it again.
Yeah.
Oh,
right.
Look. So is Kamala doing okay?
Nope. She's down, Joe. I think they found out that she's retarded. And now we're basically fucked. Trump is killing us at the polls. So yes, we're going to lose Joe.
Damn it. Wait. What if I come back to run again?
As candidate?
Yeah.
Well, let me put it this way, Joe. The only person in this world who is even more retarded than Kamala Harris is basically you. So no, Joe, you're not going back yet.
Shot.
Let's let it all play out. Okay, we'll talk later, Joe.
Okay.
Women looking fine up in here.
John Kelly talked about, I believe, and many have, is January 6th, where you have the President of the United States defying the will of the people in a free and fair election and unleashing a violent mob who attacked the United States Capitol. 140 law enforcement officers were attacked. Some were killed. And so I say that to say the American people deserve to have a president who encourages healthy debate, works across the aisle, not afraid of good ideas wherever they come from, but also maintains certain standards about how we think about the role and the responsibility, and certainly not comparing oneself in a clearly admiring way to Hitler.
We're going to see some of what our witnesses saw on January 6th. Let's see the video, please. But please be advised that it contains graphic images and strong language, which many may find disturbing.
Hey, brother, we're boots on the ground here. We're moving on to Capitol now. I'll give you a boots on the ground update here in a few.
Multiple Capitol entries! Multiple Capitol entries! Trump, we're still taking mental sharpened objects, missiles to include bottles and rocks, and hand-thrown chemical-grade fireworks. This is now effectively a riot.
1349 hours declaring it a riot.
Okay, guys, apparently this tip of the spear has entered the Capitol building.
If I give this up, they're going to have to run next to us. At least this Capitol we can defend. We got to hold what we have.
Take your pins off.
Yeah. The fuck?
Take your pins off.
Where the fuck are they? Cruise Assistant has tanked 1033. I repeat, 1033 west front of the Capitol. We've been tanked and we've lost the line.
Lock the shields! Lock them together! Lock them together! We need fresh patriots to run! Jimmy, get him to the back! Get him to the back! Get him to the back! Let's get some fresh faces up front! All right, let me out! I'm trying! Can I speak to Pelosi? Yeah, we're coming, bitch! Oh, my bitch, we're coming for you too, fucking traitor!
They've got the gallows set outside this Capitol building. It's time to start fucking using them.
Start making a list, put all those names down, and we start hunting them down one by one. Traitors get guillotined. Mobilize in your own cities, your own counties, storm your own Capitol buildings, and take down every one of these corrupt motherfuckers. So we fucking need to have 30,000 guns up here. That's true.
Videos being shared by the January 6th committee reveal a lot of things, including how quickly congressional leaders asked to bring out the National Guard. And as Les Trent reports, there is also an unguarded moment in which House Speaker Nancy Pelosi reveals her frustration with then-President Trump.
It's the stunning moment Nancy Pelosi said she wanted to punch out President Trump.
Oh, he comes, I'm going to punch him out.
She was in her office on January 6, 2021, watching the Trump rally, which led to the storming of the Capitol.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol.
I'm going to punch him out, and I'm going to go to jail, and I'm going to be happy.
I spoke with CBS News congressional correspondent Scott McFarlane.
She said she would punch him, right?
And that she may go to jail. It's something we don't hear often. It's a moment that's unique in American history.
It was recorded by Nancy Pelosi's daughter, Alexandra, a documentary filmmaker. Portions of the video were shown yesterday by the January 6th committee. More excerpts were obtained by CNN.
We have got to finish the proceedings, or else we're going to have to come to
Lawmakers were evacuated to Fort McNair, a military base 2 miles away. The House Speaker's office is ransacked minutes after she left the Capitol. Lawmakers watched live on TV from their secure location at the military base.
They said somebody was shot. It was just horrendous, and all at the instigation of the President of the United States.
Senator Chuck Schumer frantically called the Pentagon.
We need a full National Guard component now.
And Pelosi and Schumer reached out to the acting Attorney General.
Yeah, why don't you get the President to tell them to leave the Capitol, Mr. Attorney General?
So go home. We love you. You're very special.
We issued a statement saying he's got to make a statement. He comes up with this BS.
Insurrection. That's a crime, and he's guilty of it.
Meanwhile, former President Trump released a lengthy response to the committee's vote to subpoena him. The first line in all caps repeats the false claim that the presidential election of 2020 was rigged and stolen, and he calls the hearings a charade and a witch hunt. It's signed Donald J. Trump.
He doesn't directly respond to the question everybody's asking. Will you sit down and talk to this man?
Excuse me, you want to change the system? Or you think the system is right where it is right now?
Yeah, bitch, you don't want to change
the system is right where it is right now.
You don't want to change the system, bitch. All these white motherfuckers bitches.
All of y'all listening.
All they ass bitches. They some bitches. Real life bitches. Why you think they got these jobs? They don't know how to do no construction. They don't know how to do shit but this. Y'all some real bitches. Y'all get picked on in school. Y'all get picked on in school. Y'all some Say his name! George Floyd! Say his name! George Floyd! Say his name! George Floyd! George Floyd! Say his name! George Floyd! Say his name! George Floyd! Say his name! Here, we're going to give riot warning. We're going to try and get compliance, but this is now effectively a riot.
49 hours declaring it a riot.
5 to 50 be advised, Capitol Police 1 advised they're trying to breach and get to the Capitol.
have a breach of the Capitol! Breach of the Capitol! We need to hold the doors of the Capitol. I need public support. We lost the line. We lost the line. All MPDs get back! All MPDs get back up to the upper deck! All MPDs get back to the upper deck!
They were peaceful people. These were great people. The crowd was unbelievable, and I mentioned the word love. The love in the air. I've never seen anything like it.
It's Atlanta culture for you. It's not a picture. I just wonder if they knew it'd be blockaded right here, you think? They did? Yeah, I was concerned for the blockades. I was surprised there weren't this many blockades at the city hall. Like, there's literally not that many people down there. You gotta ask. Hey, there's a delay, guys. What's the delay on that? I'm hearing this yelling about right now.
Alright, are you watching CNN? Okay, cool. You see the car on fire? Okay, we're doing live stream. Okay, yeah.
Rachel, turn on CNN and just said car on fire. CNN says things about to explode. It's really bad out here, okay? Just
ATL!
I keep using that word, but you never think something like this is going to happen here. Atlanta has been historically a city that, has held demonstrations, even during the rash of police shooting of African-American men in 2015. This was a city that held large demonstrations, but they were by and large peaceful. This is nothing but.
Now, how long has this been going on, Nick?
They've been here since 3 o'clock this afternoon. We understand it was, a smaller crowd which gathered this afternoon. And it was about 7 o'clock that we started to get alerts from our national desk that they were throwing projectiles out in front of CNN Center, doing graffiti. We showed up about a half hour later, and within minutes, things took a turn. Here comes another object being thrown by a demonstrator in a mask. Now more reinforcements being brought in, coming behind our photographer, William Walker. What's going on, Kevin?
So what they're doing is...
They're calling for more shields, guys. Things are getting really bad out here, Chris.
Nick, what they're going to do is they're going to create what they call a phalanx, okay? They're going to create an angle of these shields. And what they're going to then have to make a decision to do is to either hold, which is they expect these windows to be broken and people to advance. And this is going to be the line that the officers draw, that you will not come any further than this. The decision that's more complicated for them is whether or not to move forward, because they only have where this white guy with the skateboard is standing. That's the only way out of the building for them. And they will not fit through there.
Yeah, that's right.
And that is a very dangerous thing to do. So they are doing a stand and hold right now. What are you hearing?
Well, it's pretty clear that these officers are nervous. They're seeing this situation de-escalate. They're trying to, as you say, hold this line here. And to the credit of the police officers so far, we have seen them not use much force while they've been having these large objects thrown at them. They are establishing their presence right now. There's no doubt about that, holding this line here, Chris. And, we're watching it happen right in front of us.
Well, they are preparing for what they anticipate to be a rush of the building.
Red beams putting on this individual here in front of you, and the man with the skateboard. You've got, weapons pointed at him. This is just so sad to see happen here.
Now, that's what the umbrella is about, is to try to block the officer's vision of what's going on. The question becomes, once this guy with the skateboard succeeds and breaks the window, what does it mean to the crowd? Is that the satisfaction they want, or are they going to try to advance? And God forbid they do, you're going to have a very different situation.
Well, we'll be live right here covering it all, Chris. We're right behind the police line. They're clearly, the officers are outnumbered. Those demonstrators are going back, they're very deep, going back towards Centennial Olympic Park. I feel as though I believe I just heard what I thought was a taser deployed. I don't see anyone, though, that was on the other end of it. You're seeing more shields, more reinforcements come into that line. Police officers telling their colleagues, directing them to where they need more reinforcement. We're seeing now more demonstrators come to the front. They seem like they're antsy, Chris. They seem like they're ready to charge. This is not a good look. This is not a good sign here for these officers on the other side of it. And certainly not for the demonstrators who are coming towards us.
All right, so Nick, let's just go through this one step at a time. First, you and the team have a secondary location for you? If they come through here and the police start going, you have a way to get up the stairs?
We absolutely do. We've managed to put ourselves in a position where, our viewers can see what's going on, though, we know safety, and there's no story worth risking your life over, Chris. We know that. I've got a daughter and a wife I want to get home to tonight.
You got a beautiful family. I see them all the time. You're a lucky man. You just make sure that the team has a place to go. You can always report later. And again, this is a tough situation because you have a small opening. And if they break the other window, then you have a bigger opening for the protesters to come in, although that would be a really, really dangerous thing for them to do. And then you also have another option for the officers to try to move the line farther outside CNN. The big question becomes, Nick, do we have any way of knowing what's happening with that crowd outside in terms of policing, or is this it, just these cops here? You said there's a larger police presence. Where?
there is a larger police presence, just east of me here, Chris. You have the majority of those officers here. That's where the reinforcements are coming from. The crowd is, we hate to give these estimates because we haven't talked to police, but there was over 1,000 people here, perhaps even closer to 2,000 people here. Officers outnumbered. They did bring in those reinforcements, the SWAT team, members of the bomb squad, state patrol, local police officers, plain clothes. They've given these orders already to these demonstrators to disperse. They were starting to gear up with tear gas masks, ready to deploy tear gas, when all of a sudden these windows started breaking and those projectiles continue to fly in the direction of the police, Chris. There's another one. Wow. Gosh.
So, and just so people understand what's going on, this is a big building, and this is an expansive lobby area. You are not in the newsroom. This is the front of a big
Chris,
corporate complex.
This used to be the world's largest indoor amusement park, the wacky world of Sid and Marty Krofft, before Ted Turner bought this and turned it into what is the Omni Center and then became CNN Center. This used to be the site of an indoor roller coaster. It still has the world's longest freestanding escalator. Thousands of CNN employees are here. It's connected to a hotel.
Wait, hold on a second, Nick.
The capacity of the hotel right now.
Nick,
go ahead.
Are those guys in front preparing to light something on fire? You see how they're wrapping his hand up right now?
It looks like it.
They're either wrapping his hand up because he's going to punch the glass and he wants something to protect his hand, but I saw him pouring something on it. Maybe he hurt his hand, and they're just trying to wrap it.
Yeah, they're in the wrong tickets over here.
Violence, I know, is never, ever the answer. But if you don't want violence, you can't be messing around with the Constitution, can you? Basic fundamental rights. When Joe Biden says political violence is never an option, there's something about the way he says it. I don't like the way he says it.
Hear me clearly. I'll say what Donald Trump won't. Political violence is never, ever acceptable in the United States political system. Never, never, never.
Yeah, sure. In the United States political system we have now. But if an authoritarian government, way down the road, right, somehow kind of looks like an authoritarian scene, I don't know. An armed citizenry, the Founding Fathers knew this, is a check on the government. One of them. The government needs the people to keep them in check. And I wonder sometimes how opposed Joe Biden is to political violence when he says things like this.
For those brave right-wing Americans who say it's all about keeping America's independent and safe, if you want to fight against the country, you need an F-15. You need something a little more than a gun.
Just what is he talking about? It's like he's trying to create an issue where there is none. That's fear-mongering, war-mongering. Yeah, bring it on. We got F-15s. No one's talking about that, and yet he goes there. It's wrong. I agree. Political violence is wrong. But our rights are sacred, aren't they? Not to Joe. The violence that we've seen on campus, you see certain types of political violence seems to be okay with Joe and Kamala, right? This is okay. A bunch of people marauding in front of Justice Kavanaugh's house in violation of federal law, that's okay. Chuck Schumer yelling and screaming and threatening with violence, Justice Gorsuch and Justice Kavanaugh, and a crime wave, an unmistakable crime wave, and they pretend that crime is going down. Huh? What kind of country? Well, it's this. Joe Biden has no shame and he has no soul. And Kamala it's a farce. The whole damn thing. All right, next, please.
Morning, hundreds of people in Seattle occupying a now abandoned police precinct.
What do we want? When do we want it?
The takeover coming after the Seattle Police Department abruptly surrendered the building after weeks of clashing with protesters. Now boarded up and abandoned, the building is renamed the Seattle People Department, and the 6 blocks surrounding it have been dubbed Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone.
The people recognize that this building is the people's. You know, we pay for it with our taxes.
Surrounded by barricades, police aren't allowed, while demonstrators hold meetings, set up clinics, and offer free food.
Leaving the precinct was not my decision.
The police chief last night condemned the order from the city that forced her officers to retreat.
It seems like an insult to you and our community. Ultimately, the city had other plans for the building and relented to severe public pressure.
The Seattle PD has been under fire for its tactics in recent weeks, using flashbangs and pepper spray on crowds. This girl crying in pain. 14,000 complaints filed against police. But the chief now says due to the takeover, officers can no longer respond to all calls for violent crimes in the neighborhood.
We have heard that there are armed people patrolling the streets near 12th and Pine.
President Trump dubbing the group domestic terrorists, despite the gathering being largely peaceful. He called on the governor and mayor to take back your city now. If you don't do it, I will. Seattle's mayor firing back on Twitter, writing, "Make us all safe. Go back to your bunker."
It is unconstitutional and illegal to send military to Seattle.
And slamming the president's threat to move in on the city.
One of the things this president will never understand is that listening to community is not a weakness. It is a strength.
But the mayor taking criticism herself from some Black Lives Matter protesters, saying she's allowing this to distract from the overall cause.
I'm ashamed of my city right now. I'm ashamed of the mayor. Shame on her.
I don't know how Capitol Hill became the center focus of this. Capitol Hill is not the black community. The black community is 6 blocks up the street and to the left.
Those at the autonomous zone have a list of demands, including removing officers from schools, getting rid of juvenile jails, and even abolishing the city's police department altogether. Kenneth, Mona.
Megan, thank you.